So yeah, I'm Deputy Chief Justin Lewis, and then we're here at Central Station, or Station 1. It's our biggest station of the 3 stations in the city of Wausau. We have at this station sometimes anywhere between 9 to 10 firefighters that are working 48 hours on, followed by 96 hours off. And then we have a deputy chief, the chief, a division chief of prevention, a division chief of EMS, and then that was the other position, division chief of fire, which we currently have vacant at the moment. We're going to fill here soon. So usually it's three division chiefs, a deputy chief, a chief, and then our data analyst, and then our admin assistant as well. So working for Monday through Friday. We also have a community care paramedic here. That's what I was thinking of. Our community care paramedic, Kozlowski, it does a phenomenal job working with people in our community that maybe utilize 911 for non-emergent services, and he helps connect them with the right resources and helps them stay healthier and not have to end up in the ER or calling an ambulance. So it's a very new program. It's grant funded through the Community Foundation and the Aspires Foundation. So we're very fortunate to have that program here, and I'll I'll introduce you to him here. He does a great job. So there's a lot of history on our walls. So the fire service is always had a lot of pride in the tradition of the fire service. Mm-hmm. So and we're really fortunate to have a lot of history available to us with the Wausau Fire Department. It was established in 1869 was when the first fire department was established in the city of Wausau. So it's actually older than the city itself. And we'll show you some pictures of some members from years ago. We are kind of right up into the space at this station. It was built in the 60s. It wasn't designed for this many people to be working out of the station. So as you see, things are maybe a little cluttered, and we're in the process of finding the funding to build a new fire station. Mm-hmm. So we're very fortunate to have new fire station 2, but this station here is in dire need of replacement. The maintenance costs, the lack of space, and lack of office space. So you can see we got our 3 people from the prevention bureau, plus the division chief of fire, and our admins, our 2 admins here. It makes for a pretty busy work area. Yeah. Our answering phones and such. So. But yeah, you can see. Just want to make sure I got the date, especially since I'm being recorded. Yeah. It's 1874. I'm pretty sure it was 1869 is when it was established. Yes, it's even on our patch. So yeah, so 1869. So these are some of the pictures from members ago, and I just find a lot of interest in the history of the fire department, how things were back then. We do have in our possession, it's not in our station anymore, it's being housed in storage, but we do have one of the first steam engines that were pulled by horses here.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I'm very thankful for the kind of equipment we have now. It's the state of the art, but I think it would be so cool to have worked with the horses and had that bond, and they tell the stories here of like when they had the horses and they got their first gas-powered engine. The firefighters did not want that new engine that was operated by gasoline, because they said they had more faith in their horses than they did that gas-powered engine. Yeah. So I think that's kind of cool.
Do you have a favorite part of the history that you personally like?
The favorite part of the history? Yeah. I think that part right there, just about the horses. I just think that that was a different, obviously a different era, but I think about that special bonding what they had with that animal. That'd be pretty cool. So. And here's some pictures of them, going down the streets, we haven't been able to formalize it yet, but through some of our research, we have discovered that there's been 5 line of duty deaths deaths since the establishment of the fire department. So we want to properly recognize those that died in the line of duty. There were many years ago, but they still probably deserve that recognition. So we're in the process of getting the research and getting that all formalized. But through some of our old records, we found that out. So yeah.
Do you have a picture on the walls here?
I actually don't yet. No. So the latest one would have been, I think, 22. Yeah. So at that time, Chief Bartek was the chief, and Deputy Chief Jeremy Cobb, who's now the chief. So when Chief Bartek retired, Jeremy Cobb became the new chief, and then I was fortunate enough to get hired to be the deputy chief. I initially had 20 years with the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department.
Oh, that's it.
So, yep. So I've only been with the Wausau Fire Department for about a year and a half.
How long have you been a firefighter overall?
I'm fourth generation. My father was a firefighter in Greenfield, which is on the south side of Milwaukee, and I knew it's kind of what I wanted to do. So I was pretty fortunate to join volunteer fire department as a cadet at 16 years old. So
At 16.
Yeah, at 16. So I guess going on like 23 years now. I guess I've been in the fire service one way or another.
So you kind of knew what you wanted to do like right away, like right out of high school.
Yeah, I did. I just kind of wanted to, not just because it was like in the family, but I just found it so interesting.
You like connected with it as a kid?
I did.
Yeah.
Connected with it, and my parents actually, believe it or not, they try to talk me out of it and say, maybe you should go to a 4-year college, or I'm like, nope, this is what I wanted to do. So like literally the day after I graduated high school, after our graduation ceremony, the next day I had the car packed up and I was moving into Fitchburg's fire station to do a live-in internship.
Wow.
So I can tell you more about that. That too is for somebody in school that's maybe interested, in high school that's interested in getting into the business. The internship program is phenomenal.
Yeah.
So if you want, I could actually tell you about it right now.
Sure.
So there's different ways to get into the fire service. There isn't just one set way. You can, some people will volunteer department and start taking classes here and there and get the experience, get the certifications. And then once they've acquired a certain amount of certifications, they become eligible to be hired on some career departments. So for the longest time for the city of Wausau, you had to have your firefighter 1, firefighter 2, some college credits, and a paramedic certification, a licensure at paramedic level. We're starting to change that a little bit because it does take a lot of schooling to get to that point. So we're trying to help people that maybe haven't had the opportunity to get their paramedic license to get hired here. So we've recently hired apprentice where they just need to have their EMT basic, and they are currently enrolled in paramedic school while working here. So that's a new program that we're doing this year. But that's one way to get into it. There's many people that have gone to the tech colleges for an associate's degree in fire science. Fox Valley has that program. Madison Area Technical College, or Madison College, has that program. And then in the Madison area, there's a few departments that offer internship programs. So for example, if the city of Fitchburg, where myself was an intern, Chief Kopp was an intern with the city of Fitchburg, they actually provide you like a dorm room at the fire station. So they provide you a place to live. They work with you while you go to school, and then when you're done with your class, you get assigned to a shift, and you get to work on the truck and get to apply what you're learning in class to real world emergencies. So it's the best, I think, of the best of both worlds. You get support in your schooling, you get a place to live, and you're living, working that career, 24/7 pretty much. So it's a great exposure, great opportunity. I can't say enough good things about it. It really made me able to do everything I did as far as the additional trainings and such. So yeah. So here we have just kind of a little workstation. So often, the crew that's working, they'll come out here to check their emails after a call, patient care, after an ambulance call. To come here and they'll finish the patient care report, and they just and maybe do some online training as well. So this gives them a spot to do that. So in here we have our battalion chief. He's going to give me a tour here. So So the battalion chief is kind of in charge of the crew. So he calls all the shots, makes sure everybody's scheduled and where they're supposed to be, and then if when they respond to a fire or any kind of emergency incident, he's the incident commander. He's the one in charge calling the shots.
Yeah, they get to look pretty on the news if they
Is
Okay.
it hard, taking all of those calls?
No, at times I guess, but I've been doing it for 22 years, so
Okay.
things can get a little easier. You kind of learn how to do it as you grow. So,
Right.
yeah, I enjoy it. It's not as fun as being on the fire engine out there. It's all right.
Yeah. So like, what got you more into like the like administrative part of it rather than like the like actual like?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know how to explain it.
I always wanted to be like him.
Yeah.
Kind of, I guess I started as a firefighter and just wanted to work my way up, and then when I was a lieutenant, I realized that I'd like to take on the role of this job, so I just kept working towards that. Never would have guessed I would be doing this when I first started out. I thought I'd be riding an engine forever.
And now you're here.
Now I'm in a pickup truck. Yep, sitting behind a computer.
Almost the same.
Yeah, right. It's better though. The older you get, the harder it is to
yeah.
go inside of buildings.
Yeah, so this is a good compromise then.
What's that?
It's like a good compromise then.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Would you say like most like, I don't want to say it like older, but like more like aged like firefighters go into administrative or like?
No, we have plenty that have not done this path.
Okay.
Yeah, there's definitely people that'll retire as drivers or as lieutenants.
I think a lot of people that end up in the officer role are those that have been recognized by their peers as leaders.
Oh, okay.
So they're kind of encouraged by their peers to take those positions, and they kind of recognize that they would do well in those positions because of being recognized by their peers as a leader and having that respect.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Okay, well thank you.
Yeah.
So, we might as well go this way. So up there, so also I forgot to mention, with this aging station, our air conditioning's not working at the moment.
Oh.
So that's why we see the trailer out there with a temporary unit outside, and then they got it plumbed up there, and that's why we're trying to move it around the station. You see the fans, but up there is what we call you hear this reference as the bunk room, but because they're working 48 hours, after a certain time at night, they can go up there and they can hopefully get some rest. They'll get interrupted. They have to respond to calls at night, but at least they get some rest. So it's the.
So there's actually a rumor that firefighters sleep at their station. Is it true?
Yep, that's what they do up there. Yep, at night. So it kind of, people will say like, oh, it must be nice to sleep at work, but they'll get interrupted. Our community care paramedic, that's actually his van there. And then this is like another staff vehicle for when we have to go to trainings or something like that. But that's kind of this side. The truck here, this is our battalion chief's truck, the one that we just talked to in his office there. So the battalion chief will respond, and because they're in a smaller vehicle compared to our other apparatus, they can usually get there a lot quicker. They can give what we call a size up. So they'll get on the radio, they'll size up what this incident is. If it's a fire, they'll be able to see whether there's smoke showing or flame showing, how big the structure is, and then immediately tell dispatch if they need more resources, and then give directions to the incoming units of what to do. So here's a call right now that's coming in. It's not for our station aging system, so it's station 3's engines going to a call.
Okay.
So if it was our call, that black ball up there would have some yellow or red strobes on it. We have an app, and it will kind of tell us what that call is. It'll give us some more detail. So if I click on this, it said caller called and spoke with fireman who assist. They're locked out of their house. So we provide that assistance. So
you guys do more than just fires. You do like everything.
right, and that's one thing that we, as a fire service, probably don't do a good job of getting out. So I'm really glad you guys are coming here to get kind of the inside scoop of what we all do. We're kind of a catch-all, really. When I always like to say, when somebody doesn't know what to do or who to call, they call the fire department.
Right.
So We help people who are locked out of their house. We help people who, you know, when a storm comes and the power is out and somebody's on oxygen, one of them oxygen generators, they don't know what to do. They sometimes call us, and we will help them with that. If they're, you know, the joke too, you know, the cat stuck in a tree, we still get those calls too. we kind of encourage or tell the caller that a lot of times the cats will come down on their own, but we still get those phone calls. Down power lines, car accidents. We get a lot. The Wausau Fire Department is also a regional hazmat team, so we respond to hazardous material spills. So we'll get that too. Like we'll get an industry that'll call and say, we've had a spill of this chemical, and we'll come and we'll help mitigate it. We don't necessarily do the cleanup, but we'll help keep that material from getting into the environment. So water rescues we do. We do confined space rescues, and we do a lot of confined space rescue standby. So when the utilities aren't working in the manholes or working in any confined space, they'll call us and say, hey, we need you guys to be on standby in case something happens. So we have a bunch of equipment, and we have members who are trained in confined space rescue. A lot of our paramedics are trained in tactical EMS. So we have paramedics that are teamed up with the SWAT team. So when the SWAT team gets deployed, they're right there with the team in case somebody, unfortunately, were to get hurt. They can immediately provide medical assistance. So, so yeah, we do have a kind of quite the variety of things that we have to be pretty good at.
How many calls do you guys normally get a day?
A day it varies. Last year we were just like a couple runs short of 7,000 runs.
Wow.
So 7,000 in a year. So whatever that equates out to an average of a day.
It's a lot.
It's a lot between the three stations. Yeah. So we stay pretty busy. The majority of that is calls for EMS, for medical services. So our ambulances are pretty busy. So.
What was the easiest call that you've ever gotten personally?
Easiest?
Yeah.
Easiest.
Quite honestly, the most exciting, but it was also easy, was delivering a baby. So
You guys deliver
Really?
babies?
I delivered a baby once. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, our crew is actually in the last month. I think they've had 2 deliveries in the last month. But I didn't have to do any of the work. The mom did. And it was probably the most exciting call that I've ever been on. So that would be the easiest and the most exciting. But yeah, we get called for ducts in a drain sewer, and those are pretty easy to take care of. So yeah, and we have the hard ones too, ones that where it's 20 below and you're out in the cold and you have no option to go home until the fire's out, right? So, or when it's 90 degrees and you're sweating profusely and you still got work to do, and
So like on that topic, what's the hardest call you've ever had to like answer to?
The hardest, I guess when I go back and years ago when responded, it was a 90-degree day in July. I think it was over a holiday weekend, maybe over the 4th of July weekend, so we didn't have much help from other departments or any off-duty personnel. We had fire at a paper mill when I was on the Wisconsin Rapids Fire Department. So it was pretty grueling, and it wasn't one that was easily put out, and it took hours to get to the fire and hours to make sure it was out.
And you probably you have that like full suit on too, right?
Yeah.
That probably doesn't make it any colder.
No. Yeah, you definitely don't. It doesn't breathe.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, that was one that comes to mind. The cold ones are tough too when you're cold, but.
So how do you feel when you have to like put out actual fires? Do you like get scared, nervous? Or, like what goes through your mind?
To be honest with you, I think I can. For the most of us, it's an adrenaline rush. Really, I mean, we train for it so much. You train so much for it that you're not scared. You have a lot of respect for it, and you're cautious, and you make sure you're not making mistakes, and you're not missing something. But because you train for it so much, and you're that's your mission. It's an adrenaline rush. It's exciting. And then when you do get in, and you make a quick fire attack and you knock down the fire and you save property or you save somebody, that feeling is, you can't duplicate that any other way. So it's pretty rewarding that way too. So, but going in, you know, it's a situation where you're going into, you see the movies where you see the flames and stuff like that. It's nothing like that at all. A lot of times you can't see your hand in front of your face. So we rely on the thermal imagers that help us guide us through. But for the most part, it's all touch and feel, and you're feeling your way through a house that you've never been in before. So, so that can be challenging, and you know, there's probably a little bit of everybody that's got a little bit of scaredness to it that keeps you safe. But for the most part, you're relying on your training. Our crews train every day. We'll go to we have a house that's available to us right now from Colby and Colby. We'll fill that up with fake smoke, and we'll practice our fire attacks. We'll practice our fire search and rescue. We have another building that's available to us through the city that we also have like a maze built in there. So we call it a confidence course, so they can be really challenged and get into some tight corners, and then really make sure that our firefighters on air, breathing on the apparatus, pitch dark, that they can make their way through it, and then it kind of builds their confidence so that when they are in the real situation, they become second nature for them. So, but yeah.
Do you have like any like story, like cool stories where you like ran into a building and like saved somebody, or like? Because I know that's kind of like unrealistic, but
there's many people in the department that do have, you know, those stories that have helped people, but I have not. I've not had that opportunity to actually remove somebody safely from a fire. But we've had, you know, fires. I can think of fires where we had, you know, fire over the top of us, and we were able to extinguish it and make sure it didn't spread to another, you know, building or another part of the house.
Right.
But yeah, no, I can't give you any good, you know, people over my shoulder or anything like that coming out of a building. It doesn't happen too often. You know,
right.
But,
yeah.
But there's many people within the department that probably do, and they're probably kind of back to what I was saying earlier. They're pretty humble, so you probably wouldn't know it unless you really pried it out of people.
Yeah.
So, but we do try to recognize people when they do that. You know, we had one of our firefighters 2 winters ago who rescued somebody who had gone out on the ice and had broken through the ice, and the rescue boat was being deployed, but it's still going to take time to get that rescue boat there. So she swam with her gear on, with our suits on, our cold water suits, and she was able to grab a hold of that person before they went underwater. So she was recognized, and I mean, that right there, that took a lot of effort, and had she not done that, who knows, that person could have easily slipped under the ice, and it would have been very hard to rescue somebody then. So we have situations like that too. So, we'll talk about the ambulances here next. So we talked about the incident command with the battalion chief. So we have an ambulance at every fire station. This one actually has 3 ambulances. One's in service, the other 2 are kind of backup ambulances when they go in for repair. So you guys can come up here if you want.
Can I sit here?
Yeah, you bet. You can sit
Okay.
right there. Yep. So the Wausau Fire Department is a paramedic level of EMS service. So all our employees, with the exception of just a few, and our apprentices, are paramedics. So they can provide a pretty high level of care. And what you see inside here is almost everything that you would see in an emergency room, with maybe the exception of CT and X-ray. But we have our cardiac monitor, so we can do EKGs and determine whether somebody's having an active heart attack or not, or determine a wide variety of different rhythms that mean different things. And we can treat that person, whether they're hyperkalemic or having, you know, heart problems, heart blocks. If they need to be paced, if they need to be shocked or cardioverted, we can do that. People with breathing problems, we can do a lot of things to help with their breathing problems, but if they're not able to breathe on their own, we have the ability to essentially paralyze that person and put a breathing tube into them, intubate that person, and take over their breathing for them. So some pretty high level things. Surgical airways, if need be, we can do a surgical airway for somebody. We can put needles in people, and we can do quite a variety of high level care in the back of this ambulance. So it becomes kind of tight quarters sometimes when you get a few people in here, but we're pretty fortunate to have some really great equipment, some really great protocols that allow us to really do a wide range of treatments on a situation like this. So.
Do you guys ever let family in here while you guys are helping a patient?
We try not to, just because it does become tight quarters, and we're kind of, if we start an IV, we'll have an IV, and then we got to put that needle there. So we try to, for the safety of ourselves and the safety of the family, we try not to. Sometimes we'll set them up in the front seat, where they're kind of out of the way. But for the safety for them and for us to be able to do what we need to do, we usually try not to. But occasionally we'll, especially if it's maybe a small child, we'll have a parent try to be back here to keep that child calm. But sometimes it's just best for them to ride up front. So.
And then where does that strap go? Does it like cover their head? Or?
Their head actually will be up there. Yep, okay. Their head will be up there. This will cover their waist, legs and feet. But yeah, their head will be up that way, and we can set them up. We can bring up their feet if they're in shock. We can put their feet up here too.
Have you ever worked on someone in there?
Yep. I was a paramedic. And, I rode the ambulance for quite a while.
Does everyone have to be a paramedic to become a firefighter?
Not necessarily, but for the most part here, yeah. Just because we are what we call cross-staffed, so all our firefighters are also medics, so they can usually they'll start their career right in the ambulance quite a bit, and then as they are here longer, more opportunities for them to step up to what we call an engineer's position, which would be in charge of driving this truck here, or a lieutenant's position, which is the officer on this truck, or like the battalion chief that you saw there. So as they get the experience, there's those opportunities, but most people start off riding the ambulance. And that's when you're young and you're gung ho, and it's the busiest rig of the fleet as well. So kind of work your way up that way. But this here is our what we call our engine. This is engine 1. So this will go to any and all structure fires, and its primary job is to pump water. So we will hook a larger hose up, one of our bigger, large diameter hoses that are yellow. This will go from the truck to a hydrant, and the hydrant will supply this truck with water. Then that engineer that I talked about, he's really got one of the most important jobs of them all, is making sure that the crew gets to the fire safely, right? So his number one job is to make sure we get there safely. Then the second most important job is to make sure that crew that's going inside has adequate water to make that fire attack. So he's in charge of knowing what all these different valves will do, knowing what pressures to pump them at, what kind of incoming pump pressure water he has or her has, and then what to discharge it at. So it's not rocket science, but there's a lot for them to know and a lot them to be really proficient at under a really high stress situation. It's usually immediate that they need the water. It's not like he's got or she has a lot of time to figure out how much, the situation. These are our pre-connected hoses. So these are the hoses that the firefighters will pull off the truck. They're already connected, and they'll take that in. It's got a nozzle, and they'll use that to make the fire attack most of the time.
How many firefighters need to be holding the hose so it doesn't like swing around?
Yeah, that's a good question too. So these are what we call 1 3/4 There is also 2.5-inch hose. It's a little bit bigger. The 1 3/4 you could have one person, but ideally a minimum of 2 is best. Sometimes 3, especially if you're going inside a structure and you get around corners and bends, and sometimes these couplings will get hung up on the corners. So 3 is ideal for the hose line. Typically we'll have 2 though. Engine companies, ideally, it's nice to have an engine company of at least 4 people, so you have the pumper, the engineer pumping the apparatus. You have an officer and 2 firefighters, those 3 that can go inside. Sometimes, unfortunately, staffing doesn't allow that, and sometimes we're stuck with, only having, 2 people to go in. So we'll have 3 people on the engine, but ideally their goal is to have 4.
Alright.
So, and we're working towards that goal. But back here you'll see on the way to a fire, they can put their gear on, and embedded in the seat is our air pack. So they'll put all their turnout gear, and like you see the boots out here, they'll put those on before they get into the truck. They're set up that way so they can quickly get them on. Our goal that when a fire comes in, that in less than 90 seconds, this truck is out the door on its way to a call from the time the tones go off. So if a fire call would come in right now, you would expect the crew that you saw in the kitchen, they would be running out here, quick putting on their gear, coming in back here, all the doors will get closed, and out the door in 90 seconds. So then they'll put their air pack on while they're going. They kind of already well trained to know what their responsibilities are, but there'll be some communication on the way to the fire, depending on the type of incident or the structure they're going to. But they'll do that, a lot of the stuff en route too. So.
Does everyone have like assigned seats then?
Yeah. So when they are assigned for the scheduling for the day, the battalion chief that we met earlier, he kind of puts everybody where they're supposed to be based on rotation, based on their level of training. So yeah, the engineer, he knows that, or she knows that they're in charge of this apparatus. So they're going to the front seat, they're making sure the cabinets are closed, the garage doors are opening up, and then who's ever assigned as a firefighter for the engine, they will be coming back to the back seats, the lieutenant sitting up in the front seat, so front passenger seat. So it's kind of a primary job is to provide that fire suppression, but these engines will also make sure we go in car accidents sometimes. We have a variety of different tools and equipment on here. So we got tarps and ropes. We got stuff for cleaning up after car accidents and stuff like that. So kind of a variety of different equipment that we're. One other task that I mentioned, we talked about confined space. We also have a technical rescue team too. So not that long ago, this summer, I think it was in June, they got the opportunity to rappel off the Dudley Tower.
Oh,
so
wow.
something that they need to be proficient in case window washer or something like that has an emergency, they need to be able to rescue that person. So kind of a cool opportunity. What you see right here is it's not our rescue boat, it's kind of our backup though. Normally we have an airboat that's here, but it's in for repair right now. But the airboat allows us to go over land, water, ice, shallow areas. This is kind of your normal standard boat, but it still does a great job for us. So it gives us the ability to make some rescues on the water. And that's just kind of up to our utility truck. So. Here we have our ladder truck. So some people call it platform. We call it truck one. So this is a 100-foot platform. So this will go up 100 feet in the air, which is tall enough to get us to the top of that building over there. So, and it's nice that it gives us a nice safe working platform to work off of. We can flow a lot of water through here too. If it's a building that's maybe unstable, that we're afraid of there's been a collapse or something like that, we can flow water from the outside. We call that a defensive approach. So we can do that with those 2 different nozzles up there. It can flow a lot of water. But ideally, having a nice platform like this would allow us to make some rescues if we need to off of elevated stories. So very large truck. You can see it's what we call a tandem axle. So our engineers need to be pretty proficient in maneuvering this through city streets and traffic. It's not the easiest truck to get through traffic.
All right, yeah.
But it's a great truck, and we're really lucky to have it. It's actually due to be replaced as well. So let's get it up there. Let's keep our truck equipment. It doesn't look that old. We do try to keep our equipment in great shape. We wash them at 4:30 every day. We get washed. So we take a lot of pride in keeping our equipment nice and clean and shiny. This is our rescue. So rescue 1 here. This is all those different types of areas that I've talked about, like the different things that we need to equip. A lot of that equipment gets stored on here. So we have a lot of extrication equipment. So for car accidents, we have equipment to stabilize a vehicle, make sure it doesn't roll while we're working on it. We have our extrication equipment on here. We have our ropes for making high-angle rescues. We have our confined space equipment on here. So kind of like a giant rolling toolbox, really. So,
Does the department have to pay to like get both trucks washed, or is it free?
we wash them here in the station.
Oh, you wash them in the
Yep, we
station.
wash them by hand.
Oh.
We'll fill up a bucket of water and some rags and wash them and try to keep them clean. So, but here we have one of our reserve, our reserve ambulances. So you see stuff like this because they're always training, they're always doing something. So this is just a homemade mannequin we made out of some old hose to get used to dragging, heavy victims. We'll put them in situations where they'll have to drag them out of a structure or a house. We have a platform up there that we can practice. We'll put that ladder into we'll pretend window over here, and we'll practice entering in, through a window, or what we call ladder bails, when we have to exit a structure really quick. We have to make sure we get out or we're gonna get hurt. So this is a forcible entry prop, so we have to be really good at making sure, if the doors are locked, we still need to be able to get in there if there's an emergency. So the crews become pretty proficient in doing their forcible entry. So, when they're not on shift, they store their gear in their little lockers here. So it's kind of a variety of equipment that they store in their lockers. So, yep, I can give you his information before you leave.
Okay.
So we have engine 4. Unfortunately, engine 4 has got a little cosmetic damage. It was somebody had they were responding to emergency call, and somebody failed to stop at a red light and pulled out in front of them. So they were involved in an accident. So luckily, nobody was seriously hurt. That's one of our challenges too. Is traffic seeing us going too close. A lot of people are distracted, and we'll have as many lights and sirens as we can get on these trucks, but often we still are unnoticed by some drivers. So that's going to get repaired. This is one of our older engines as well. Right here, what we have is a brand new. This is our brand newest piece of apparatus. It was just delivered a week ago. So it's made by Pierce, which is in Appleton. It's a 75-foot ladder, so a little bit shorter than the one that you saw at Station 1, and it doesn't have a platform. But that also gives us some opportunities to put it in positions that we couldn't get the other bigger truck in. But this will basically take the place of this one, and will respond to fire calls. It'll assist the ambulance. And when the ambulance goes on a call that's more serious and they need more personnel, this truck will respond with it. It is brand spanking new. So if you guys want, you can climb up there if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's technically not in service yet, so feel free to go on up there and
Here.
Oh. It's like super high up.
So you guys literally just got this year?
yeah, it was literally delivered like a week ago.
You haven't even used it yet?
Nope, it's not even technically in service yet. We still got a couple you can see to put on it, and we haven't even got it lettered yet, so we'll soon say we'll also fire on it like the other trucks.
Yeah.
Do you want to come up too?
Yeah.
Yep, one's work, one's personal. Yep. Not everybody, not everyone has two. Management pretty much has two. Yep. So, and just like the engine, this also has a pump on it, carries water, so it can be, it's pretty versatile. Where we could use it to pump water. The crews can pull those lines off it, stretch it inside a structure, and then you also have the ladder on top to get to rooftops or windows. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about this truck. It's gonna be nice.
Yeah.
And then we see here, I mentioned before that Wausau Fire Department is one of 8 regional hazmat teams in the state of Wisconsin. So being a hazmat team, you really need to have a lot of different equipment to be able to handle pretty much any type of chemical that gets released in the environment that shouldn't be in the environment. It doesn't even have to be a chemical. It could be something that's what you may think is harmless as milk. But if a milk truck tips over and spills, that milk gets into the streams, it would be very deadly to fish. So it may seem harmless, but if it gets in the environment, it can really do some damage. So we have equipment that can stop that or mitigate that. We also have equipment on here that can help with really bad chemicals or even dangerous explosives and stuff like that. Can mitigate and at least do some metering and determine what actually is the problem too. So a lot of times we get unknowns. Last summer we got called to a suspicious package. We didn't know what was in it, but it was suspicious. So we were able to work with the Marathon County Bomb Squad and do some metering and make sure there was no vapors or anything like that was going to cause the bomb squad any harm, and then they were able to x-ray it. It ended up being a package of books. So, but better that than something bad.
Yeah.
So,
How come this truck is into 2 different pieces?
because it's so large, but just because it's such a large trailer, if it was one truck, it would be really hard to maneuver.
Okay.
So this gives us a little maneuverability. But you can see we have all kinds of meters. The yellow meters, they detect nuclear devices. So we also have the capability of detecting the radiological weapons or anything like that. So, and a lot of different types of gases, we can use our meters and it can tell us exactly what that chemical or compound is. Hazmat trailer can be used for command purposes. So whether it's at a hazmat call or maybe just a large-scale incident, we can utilize this as kind of a command post.
So who normally sits up here then?
Who would sit up here?
Yeah.
So in a very large incident, you would have your incident command structure. So you would have obviously your incident commander, but you'd have somebody maybe in charge of logistics, somebody in charge of operations, planning, and then you may have a communication person, someone who's in charge of communications. So we have radios in here, and they all kind of work in the same space and communicate with each other. You may have somebody, if it's an incident would also involve law enforcement. You would have an incident commander from the police department doing a joint unified command. So you'd have someone from fire and police that are both working together. So it kind of gives us that option here. It's not a huge space compared to some incident command posts and trailers, but it's definitely better than standing outside. So we're pretty fortunate. Very fortunate.
What's your favorite vehicle from the fire department?
Well, right now I would say it's this one because it's the newest one. where their gear is stored. So when you're on shift, the gear comes out of here, and the gear gets put on the truck, right? So so the gear is all set up out there. So all the gear that you see here right now is crew members that aren't working.
Mm-hmm.
But after a fire, they'll come back. They'll take their gear apart. We have some great equipment to keep our gear clean. So they'll wash their gear, they'll dry it, and they'll try to keep as many of those carcinogens off their gear. Clean gear is a good thing. There was a time in the fire service where there was a lot of pride in how dirty your gear would get and how stained your helmet would be, because it showed that you've been to a lot of fires, right? It showed that you were experienced. But what we're learning is that's not always healthy. So yeah.
Do you know why there's a car headlight right there?
In the fire service, we like to joke around a lot. So I think that might have been leftovers from an accident, and that person gets teased with
Okay.
parts. So, but yeah, that's that other, that camaraderie in the fire service that I was kind of talking about, how we like to give each other a hard time,
Mm-hmm.
but when it's time to go, everyone has each other's back, and you work as a team, and it's kind of a very team type of atmosphere. So, yeah. So, I understand you're doing this for people that are also interested in being in the fire service too, right? So the Fitchburg internship is a great program if somebody's interested in when they're graduating high school. But there's a lot of programs out there too, or just doing a job shadow for a day or something, coming down and hanging out. We've done that before. Right now we have quite a few new employees that we're trying to get through their orientation. So we may have limited availability to do that, but I always like to throw that invite out to anybody that's debating whether they're want to choose this as a career or not, because it is a big commitment. There's a lot of training. There's Firefighter 1 to get, Firefighter 2, EMT Basic, and then Paramedic are like the main certifications. You can get most of those at your local technical college. So.
Do people who job shadow get to go on calls too?
Sometimes they'll meet with just Chief and I, and we'll kind of give them but we do have a ride-along program. I think you have to be at least 17 years old, and if you're not 18, you do need parents' permission, but you have to sign a waiver, and then you have to sign a HIPAA documentation that you won't release any patient information while you're on it. But you could, if you're 17 years old, you can do a ride-along. Yep. We're pretty fortunate that in the fire service in the state of Wisconsin, you can retire at age 53. So,
Okay.
25 years. If you have 25 years worth of service and you're at age 53, you can retire. So that's kind of a nice benefit as well. Not many of you are thinking about that when you're
Yeah.
your age, but believe me, when you start getting a little bit older, you're thinking about what your plans are later in life. The idea of being, having a retirement benefit when you retire is a great benefit. So.
Is there anything you would like to say to people who want to become firefighters but are kind of nervous to be one?
Yeah, I guess it's probably normal to have a little bit of hesitation or being nervous, because it is such it can be a dangerous job, but at the same time, it's just as rewarding. I think it's just as rewarding. Every day you do get a chance to make a difference. Every day you're going out to somebody's worst day of their life, and you get to make it a little better by just showing up. So sometimes you have the opportunity to really make an impact and save a life. But you get to do that pretty much every day, and you don't know what your day is going to be like. So that variety of things you can get called to makes it exciting, makes it different, makes it not a mundane. But I wouldn't let the hesitation of the job stop somebody from. I would recommend not stop you from pursuing this career, because how rewarding it can be will offset that. And I think the more you train, the less scary it becomes. The more proficient you become in your job, the safer you are then. And it's also a job where everybody's looking out for everybody on the incident. So you have a lot of people looking out for you. You have each other's back, and you're working as a team to accomplish whatever task it might be, whether it's rappelling off of a building and rescuing somebody, or putting a ladder up to a window, or taking a hose line in and extinguishing a fire. So, yeah.
So that was like actually like a really cool experience. He ended up giving us these coins.
Yeah,
too.
I got one too. And
Yeah.
then these are like kind of heavy, so they're like pretty legit.
They were like nice.
Mm-hmm. It's not like plastic or anything.
We ended up learning like a lot. Like firefighters do so much more than like at least what I thought. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
Like
I thought firefighters just like, well, like I'm not actually sure what they did, but like I thought they just sit when they don't have calls for fires, because there's like not a lot of fires, you know.
right, yeah. But no, they are like, it's like they're living
The life of everything.
their life, but then they just get like interrupted to go do this, and then they have to go back. It
Yeah.
feels like a
They
boot
also
camp almost.
live in their fire department.
I was really hoping we'd be able to like go and see, but I mean we got to go inside of one of them.
Wait,
so,
go and see what.
like an accident, or not like an accident, but like
Bruh.
like one of their calls.
Oh yeah, when we were talking about the calls, and then there was a call.
Yeah.
I was like, that's wild.
Yeah, no, her face was literally like.
Yeah, I was like, oh.
She was like, oh my god, we're gonna get to go.
Yeah, I know.
That would have been so much fun, but yeah.
But they did say that they do have a program for them to like, for people to go see. They just have to like sign a thing, a pledge, so that they don't like give out the patient's information.
Yeah,
Which I understand.
HIPAA agreement. It was like, honestly, it was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
Like low key, just sign up and go do it. You know, like.
Or just go out there, meet your community, go ask, because most of the time they are gonna say yes, you can come see it.
Yeah, and like they didn't tell us, but we could kind of tell they were grateful for like the food we brought them. Oh, I don't even know if we showed, but we ended up bringing them like donuts and flowers and stuff.
Yeah, so we brought them
As
two
like a
flowers,
thank you.
2 big bouquets, and then they have a little counter, and then they have like tables for them to sit, and then we put the flowers on the counter and the Dunkin' Donuts on the counter too. I bought them. Well, basically we brought them. Okay.
You bought them.
Okay. Yeah, I guess. 50 munchkins, which I know it's not like a lot, but I wasn't sure how many people there'd be. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to like bring actual donuts in case like there were like fewer than the people. So I just bought 50 munchkins, but it wasn't even that bad.
And then we were like walking past and we could hear them cheering and stuff. And we were like,
they were
oh
cheering, and then,
my
and then
god.
they have like these huge glass windows, and then I was looking in there, and then they brought the flowers, and then they put it in the center of their actual like eating table, and I was like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, no.
But then I also liked it, and they were like grabbing the donuts out of the box. I was like, oh my gosh.
It was great. But just like, thank you to, I don't remember how to say his last name, but Justin. Yeah, he was like,
He was super chill.
he was super nice. He was great. Like his tour was amazing. So thanks to him for like allowing us to come and tour and everything. Because it was a great experience.
Yeah.
But I think that's it, really.
Yeah, that's basically it. I encourage you guys to go to your local fire station too and ask just to see things. Ask questions if you're interested, and if they have a pole, ask to go ride it. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
these 2 stations and the 3rd one do not have poles, so we were not able to ride it. But it was still a really good experience.
Yeah, so get out there, get into your community. Because I mean, like, it was like if somebody wanted to be a firefighter, I can see how that would low-key be like an amazing experience for them.
Yeah, especially because you also get to go see inside all of the trucks.
Yeah.
And we also saw the newest truck that they made, and they haven't even like brought it out yet or like used it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was super cool because we're like one of the first people who are like not firefighters.
I got to see it, really.
Yeah.
Yeah. So get out in your community. And they're so humble about it, but they do so much, and like it's great to just show them appreciation.
Yes, of course. Bring them gifts once in a while.
Yeah.
Even if they don't really show it, they do appreciate it.
So thank you to all you firefighters, everybody.
A huge shout out to also
Everybody.
firefighters and all firefighters out there.
You guys are amazing. also let us know if you like these type of videos, because low-key, we're down to do more of these for like different types of careers. We'll do anything.